U.S. President Trump follows through on his threat and imposes reciprocal tariffs on dozens of countries, including Canada.
When we first came to office, this country was really in trouble. And now we're rich as hell, and we're doing amazing things, and we really are. We're the hottest country in the world, and I like that. Thank you very much, everybody.
The tariffs on Canada have been increased from 25% to 35%. They took effect as of midnight. Goods that are compliant with the CUSMA are exempt from those higher tariffs, but Canadian steel, aluminum, and just recently copper pipe and wiring will be facing a steeper levy of 50%. With me now is Perrin Beatty, former Foreign Affairs Minister, co-chair of the expert group on Canada-U.S. relations, and the former president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Perrin, thank you very much for joining us.
Glad to be with you.
What kind of a signal is Donald Trump sending right now with this latest move?
Intimidation. If he's doing it with Canada, he's doing it with the other countries as well. I think there are about 69 countries that he unilaterally imposed these higher tariffs on. And what he's trying to do is to use chaos and intimidation as a means of achieving his political goals.
And how does Canada work through that? Do they stand firm? Do they back off a little? What's the best approach?
I think the important thing is for us to keep our cool. First of all, in the short term, we have protections, you were pointing out, under CUSMA. Perhaps as high as over 90% of the exports to the United States would be CUSMA compliant, and that's a positive thing in the short term. And keep in mind that CUSMA itself will come up for renegotiation. So take our time, take stock as to where we are, and don't be rushed into making a bad deal. When you look at what happened with the rush by the Europeans, the Japanese, and others, they essentially capitulated to Donald Trump, and I don't think we should be doing that.
And do you think any deal that's signed now will kind of be foreshadowing for the negotiations with CUSMA?
Well, it's a bit like negotiating with the Chinese, where you sign the agreement, then the real negotiations start. What's going to happen here is that if we come to an agreement with Donald Trump, this is a short-term agreement in essence, because everything goes back on the table as the renegotiation of CUSMA takes place. Right now, the most important tariffs in Canada are the sectoral ones, where he's hitting steel and aluminum, and where he may be hitting lumber. Copper is affected as well. But when CUSMA comes up for renegotiation, the broad exemption that we have today goes back onto the table.
And is he trying to choke those industries out, do you feel?
He's been very explicit in terms of the automotive sector and saying that he doesn't want to buy any cars that are made in Canada. And certainly in terms of steel, when he puts on 50% tariffs, this is designed, obviously, to make it extremely difficult for anybody to export into the United States. So he's highly protectionist. This is not a trade negotiation in the sense that we would have with any other country where you'd be looking for something that was a win-win relationship. Donald Trump is entirely transactional. Just as important for him to have won on any deal is to be seen to have won on any deal. And if he can humiliate the person across the table from him, so much the better.
Is that a healthy way to negotiate, though, between governments of countries?
It is not. It's exactly the opposite. And it makes it very difficult for anybody else sitting across the table from the U.S. at this point. For example, look at the fentanyl justification. We know it's false. They know it's false. This is the pretext that's being used to try to defend these tariffs in the courts, these tariffs which go against CUSMA, the agreement that President Trump signed. And so we have this phony debate about less than 1% of fentanyl coming into the United States, according to U.S. statistics, from Canada. It makes no sense at all, and yet this sort of false justification is used. This is not the way in which you would negotiate with any other rational leader, whether it was in business or in government.
Okay, Perrin, thank you very much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Delighted.
Perrin Beatty is a former Foreign Affairs Minister, co-chair of expert group on Canada-U.S. relations, and the former president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce.